Hey, what up, though? Welcome to another episode of What's Up Cuzzo podcast with your boy Melly is in the building.
Bob,
What up, though?
what's good, man? How you feeling?
Good, man. And myself, before we get too far, you know what I'm saying? Marco, we appreciate you. Episode 29 of the What's Up Cuzzo podcast. And man, we got a little bit to talk about, man, because things have happened.
And there's always things will continue to happen on a daily basis.
100%. So, man, anyway, I know you were, getting into it, man, but how you feel?
I feel good. Great week. Week actually went by pretty smooth, pretty fast. Excited about things are coming up in the next day or two, and wasn't too hot, wasn't too crazy. I know in Arizona it was like 118. Shouts out to Arizona.
Ooh.
We appreciate you. Hopefully y'all got them pools out there. The AC, is up to date in service. But I'm good. How you feeling? How was your week?
You know what? Actually, I got to get my weekly cough. Uh, but speaking of Arizona, man, I was in Phoenix a couple years ago now. And man, they got like some super crackheads out there. They are, hey, they be walking around with jackets on all year round. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Wow. Super crackhead.
You know
I
what?
was talking about like just like some superhero crackheads with capes walking around,
Right.
jackets.
So we go to the gas station to fill up before we I don't remember if we were going to an event or if the weekend was over. I can't remember that. Can't recall that actually. But stopped at the gas station and this dude is at the pump with a pipe trying to light them up right by the pump. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
He trying to get real high, baby.
Super crackhead. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yeah, so I'm saying? He has superpowers. He was like, you know what? Hey, I'm not worried about getting blown up. You
Listen,
know.
man. Yeah.
And then they had like a little. I don't know if you know where they keep the. Well, some places, some guys say they have like the trash and they have it locked up now, and it's like a cover over the top of it. Like they had, like it was a group of them. They had climbed over in there and had took it over.
Wow.
I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, and
Oh.
I've been to Phoenix quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not too many, not like 10 or so, but I've been there like 5 times. Me and my boy, we went up there for a couple football games when like U of A played USC, and yeah, man, it's gotten bad. Hopefully, it's getting better. But I just wanted to tell that story because you're talking about Arizona and hot. I remember, yeah, that memory stuck out to me
That
for
that
some reason.
that triggered it for you. I
Yeah,
got you right on.
yeah,
No
yeah, yeah.
doubt. No
Yeah,
doubt.
man. So anyway, man, I'm doing good, man. It has been uh a good week, so far. Can't really complain too much. Um, but we're gonna get right into it. So we have a couple of things to talk about. We have uh Ben McLemore has been sentenced uh for a committing a sexual act with a young lady back in 2021. We also we're gonna kind of talk about like the Diddy trial, like what difference has it made? Like now, like guys used to love to, fly people out. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? We'll talk about that.
I don't
And
know.
then absolutely. And then we're gonna talk about this is just recently added to the list, but there were some North Korean nationals
Mm-hmm.
who were recognized as uh, infiltrating IT jobs, and we're going to talk about that briefly. So, and then we may have one other thing at the end. I don't want to bring it up yet. We may not get to it, but I want to get to it to just see everybody's reaction. But we'll see. we'll see if we get to it. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and hop right into it. Actually, you know what? We'll start with the Korean nationals and see what they have to say about that.
Let's get to it.
Yes, sir. I'm moving my fingers as fast as I can, sir.
Learned that the Treasury Department has sanctioned a North Korean cyber operative accused of running a scheme using remote IT jobs to raise money for leader Kim Jong Un's nuclear program. Since 2022, this operative has allegedly been stealing personal information from U.S. citizens, including names, social security numbers, and addresses, in order to disguise thousands of foreign workers as American job applicants. According to the Treasury Department, the revenue generated by these workers has been used to support North Korea's, quote, unlawful weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missile program. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga. And Nicole, this is such a wild story and wild operation. What more can you tell us about this and the hacker who has been sanctioned at this point?
Yeah, a North Korean cyber operative was a notorious member of Kim Jong-un's military intelligence agency known as the Reconnaissance General Bureau. The U.S. had accused Song Kum-hayek of facilitating an IT worker scheme. He not only recruited North Korean cyber operatives to pose as American remote workers for hire, fooling companies worldwide, but also facilitated identity theft that made it all happen. In 2022, Song began stealing the personal information of U.S. citizens, including names, social security numbers, and addresses, in order to create aliases for the hired foreign workers disguised as American job applicants, with whom he ultimately split the proceeds. Now, the sprawling scheme, according to the Treasury Department, allowed North Koreans operating in both China and, believe it or not, Russia to collect paychecks as a fundraising mechanism for Kim's nuclear missile program.
Do we get the sense that the U.S. citizens who had their information stolen know at this point that they were affected by this?
At this point in time, we have no indication that any of the American citizens whose identities were stolen are witting here. In fact, separately, when CBS News has done its own investigation into this, some of the individuals targeted were deceased. We should say we know the worker scheme. It employs thousands of North Koreans, who all play a role in sort of funneling this money into the ballistic missiles program. The money-making scheme, by the way, we know is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, according to FBI senior officials. We do know that the kinds of jobs span popular industry sectors like business, health, fitness, social networking, sports, entertainment, according to the Treasury Department. We also know that North Korean cyber operatives often take on projects that use virtual currency exchanges, so think cryptocurrency, and that actually enables them to more easily launder the money back to Kim's regime undetected.
And Nicole, do you get the sense?
All righty. What you think, sir?
Man, when I initially heard this story, I thought about one thing. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Red Dawn, but it initially took me to that. The whole thing with the Red Dawn is North Korea coming to America, dropping in paratroopers coming out of the ground, infiltrating America. So it seems like they have been doing this for a while, is doing it for a while. They're bringing up this story for a reason. So you really have to ask yourself, why are they telling you this story? What's the reason that they're using this information? All information is propaganda until you can get both sides of it. That's what I usually think about when I hear information on the news, wherever it is. Where is it coming from? Can I factualize a story, by tracing it back to a source? So usually when I research, I look at multiple different sources of information so we can understand what the information is. Is it actually true? Is this actually something that has happened? And when you're looking on the news, sometimes it's tough because we understand what the news stations are. It's propaganda.
Yeah.
So when I thought about it, when I heard of it, that's just initially what I thought. This is Red Dawn. Whether it's going to play out actually like the movie, I don't know. Maybe so. I don't really think so, but in a sense, it is, because if they're already here doing this and have been doing it, there's a reason why they were allowed to do it. Because if you have the intelligence that we have, so to speak, CIA, FBI, I'm pretty sure they've been watching them and allowing them to operate so they can really understand what their plan or their goals or their initiatives are.
Right.
That's just how intelligence works sometimes. Sometimes they allow things to go along and happen so they can see what the plan actually is. So, I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it.
Yes, sir. When I saw it, I thought about, two things. There were some Chinese nationals that were caught recently smuggling some type of fungi into the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I thought about is that, and this is a little different, but it did bring this thought about, is that we have all these people that were let in, and I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but we have all these people that come over here, and people are so stuck on the Latino culture, but we have all these other different people that come over here who we don't know who they are, we don't know their intentions, and we don't know, what they. And I said that already. We don't know their intentions. So, so those are the two things that came, that I thought about, and then from what they stated, this hasn't been like a recent thing. It's apparently it's been going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For multiple years.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing also is, why is it, and you talked about this, why is it that they are allowing this information to get out? Because if it's something that's really super top secret, then the government, our government won't allow us to know, so it could be reported on. So yeah, I agree with you. Like, what is the aim of, of this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that if this is going on and, at a larger scale, then it's definitely a problem. As President Trump put it, we have people who are actually, it's JD Vance who said we have people who are our adversaries, and if they're using our funds to infiltrate us and eventually, create weapons and things like that to use against us, that's a big problem. And I don't know, like I didn't get an opportunity to like really deep dive into this, to see all the different facets of it, kind of like you said. But just from the surface, I don't know how they let this happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I just think that it frustrates me, because you don't know who to believe. You don't know what to believe. You don't know what to take as fact, and of course you want to protect yourself. You want to protect your family if it's something that you can do. In this instance, and then when you hear stuff like this, it's like, damn, like what's really going on? Like, does the government have our best interests at heart? And then yeah, I know that's yeah. I believe it's what's better for the cause, and whatever cause that is that they are, a part of, and it's sometimes it's disheartening, to believe, to know that and to believe it and see it, in situations like this, because they'll be quick to, they want us to be in fear. So is this another fear tactic? Or is this something else? Like what? Like really, what is it? Like, why is it that you guys are bringing this to our attention? Why is it that, the other instance I brought up, like, why is it that the Chinese nationals that were in here, they're here to poison the food source? Why is that? Is it really the Chinese nationals that are poisoning the food source?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't want, maybe it could be, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we gonna go ahead and put this on you. You may not know what we're talking about, or
Right.
you may just take the hit for it, but
Yeah.
we need to slide this in your pocket and say you did it.
Plausible deniability. You know,
Liability.
show you one hand and then to hide the other one, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah, left hand, right hand don't know what the left hand's doing, or left
That one
hand
too. Yeah, that one, but it's another one. I remember it.
or something like that.
Some hand and two in the bush or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's a different one. A bird in one hand is
Yeah,
worth two in the bush. That one.
I think so. But that's the same thing. It all means the same thing because the game is, let me give you somebody to be upset with. Let me give you, somebody that's the boogeyman. They're over here, doing bad things. Forget what we've been doing. That's been
Right.
bad. Forget we've been stealing all y'all money.
Right.
And just, building underground bunkers or whatever, or saying we're gonna build a speed train and a bullet train and ain't did it. Saying we're gonna, get rid of this homeless problem and it then got worse
Right.
and worse and worse. So all those things, forget we're gonna say, oh yeah, we're gonna give you the Epstein files and then telling me what Epstein files that they don't exist. Forget all of that. But I'm gonna tell you about these North Koreans who've been infiltrating for years, and we just got them. They've been sending money back.
Get your attention off of that.
So they can get their money up for these weapons of mass destruction. So
Right.
that'll be another story they can tell, so they can go to war with somebody else. You see how the game goes.
Man, I could see. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a perpetual one. Yeah, and I don't mean to sound, conspiracy theorist, but that's just the way I've seen it go. As long as we've been up, Cuzzo, we've seen how the way we thought things were till we grew up and experienced life for ourselves, and then the longer we live, the more we see, hypocrisy just put in your face on a daily basis. We see, the same games that they play over and over and over. They don't show or tell you certain things so they can, make it seem to look like something else.
Right.
They're not going to give you any truth to free yourself, because if you free yourself, then how could you be a slave anymore?
Yeah, I think that's a big a huge point, because it's easy to believe, what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to believe that, especially if you, been taught to, listen to the news. The news is where you get your information from.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what they say, is fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easy to get caught up into that in that. And then, but sometimes, like, I don't know, hopefully one day, and like I said, I keep saying this, that I'm not fully there. I'm starting to see things and learn things myself, even in my older age, I would say. Hey man, hey, stop hating, man. But anyway, yeah. But the thing is that you keep believing that, and you keep getting the wool pulled over your eyes. But at some point you have to come to come back, like, take a second, look, like, does that make sense? You know what I mean? Does it really make sense why this is happening, but they're saying this? Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Well, why doesn't it make sense? You know what I'm saying?
You talking about critical thinking. No, don't do that.
Oh man, all right, let me not talk about it.
Yeah, you talking about thinking deeper about what somebody tells you, and ask questions, not that.
Well, yeah, my bad, man. Sorry, everybody out there. I didn't mean to put too much pressure on you.
Right? Yeah, you doing too much right now.
But yeah, man, we never do. And I had these conversations with, family, and like sometimes if you agree, it's okay to agree with a person on some points, but not agree with them on others. You have to agree with them on everything. But sometimes people have this dying loyalty to everybody, and even if they're saying something or doing something that's wrong or off, they still do it. Now that's not being objective and thinking for yourself. This person is really like a god to you, because you believe everything that they say. It's people that I look up to, people that I even follow in the YouTube space. I follow them because they give you a good understanding of some things, but I don't agree with everything they say. You know what I mean? Like some people have certain viewpoints, and just because they had a viewpoint and I follow them, doesn't mean I have to believe everything they say. I get to have my own opinion, and and these outlets, they push a certain thing. I need to find that video of like all the different news outlets, how they're all saying the same
Oh
thing.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I need to find that.
Mhm.
That's what it's like, and if the more that they program it in, the more the people are going to believe it, and the more it's going to stick. So we have to detach. But anyway,
Yeah.
did you have anything else you want to add to that topic?
No, we'll just to be continued. We'll see where that leads us to. Just put a pin in that one because, like I said before, you have to ask yourself, why are they showing you that? Why are they telling you that? And then sometimes you have to come back to it. So we'll see.
All right, let's see. So we're gonna go ahead and jump over to Ben McLemore.
A Portland Trailblazer is set to spend more than 8 years in prison after he was found guilty of rape during his time with the team.
In court today, the victim spoke just before the judge handed down his sentence.
This has been the longest 4 years of my life.
8 years and 4 months. That's how long Ben McLemore will be in prison after being found guilty of raping a woman at a house party back in 2021. It happened while the 32-year-old was on the Portland Trailblazers team at the Lake Oswego home of his then teammate, Robert Covington.
I've had to continue on with my life with a piece of it left unresolved. These last few years have often felt like a weight that I've had to drag behind me, a constant reminder of the trauma that I haven't fully been able to work through because there was no ending in sight.
He wasn't arrested and indicted until just last year, and today, the victim addressed the court, speaking about the years-long process it took for justice to be served.
This experience has taken an immense toll on my emotional and mental health. It's changed me in ways that I've never expected, and yet I've carried this burden in silence. Thanks to the jury's verdict, I can finally feel a weight being lifted. A weight that I've carried for far too long, and while I can't truly describe the relief that I feel, I know that today I stand a little taller and a little freer.
McLemore was found guilty of several charges, including first-degree rape, despite his claims that the sexual encounter was consensual.
He used my vulnerability against me and then had the audacity to lie about the disgusting act that he committed.
The victim said in court today that she hopes this trial will be a testament that no one is above the law, no matter their status.
So many times we hear about people in positions of power or fame avoiding accountability, but I knew that no matter how famous Mr. McLemore was or how much he may have loved and respected his family, he was still capable of hurting someone else.
McLemore was also sentenced to 11 and a half years of post-prison supervision and will have to register as a sex offender.
Boy. Well, well. That's tough, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
Man, we are we in trouble. I'm not saying we necessarily
Man,
me and you, but us as men are, have to be extra cautious.
man, first P. Diddy, man. I mean, first Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, now this. Man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say. Like, hey,
So this happened how many years ago? And then up until last year,
yeah, this
even get it.
happened in 2022, I believe.
So how you
2021.
so how
2021.
you all of a sudden get indicted, by what? I'm just interested to see what the evidence is
Yeah.
against the gentleman. And to me, this sounds just like every other rape case that we've seen against, a black athlete. And let me first preface what I'm saying, not to say that I agree. Rape is very serious, and anybody who inflicts that on anyone, definitely should get their day in court first. And if they're found guilty, you know, yeah, you should pay the price.
Yeah, let me share this real quick. I think this is him kind of, or them kind of giving his story. Let me see what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any point along the way that you thought
Former Trailblazer Ben McLemore took the stand in his defense on Thursday, telling his version of what happened at a house party where he was accused of raping a woman after a night of drinking. McLemore says the evening began with bowling before team members met at Robert Covington's Lake Oswego home for cards and drinking.
But I was just, just being there and just enjoying the night and just, having that time with my teammates and stuff.
McLemore testified he encountered the alleged victim in the bathroom after some of her friends asked him to help move her to the couch because she was intoxicated. McLemore said he eventually fell asleep on that same couch and then woke up a few hours later with that woman's hands down his pants.
Fondling me and basically arousing me. So that's what pretty much woke me up. Again, I'm in deep sleep.
That's when McLemore says he began having sex with a woman, an encounter he describes as consensual.
She didn't show no signs of distress or discomfort. It didn't, give me no signs at all or alertness of that.
McLemore says that he and the alleged victim never spoke with each other before, during, or after the encounter, and he left Covington's house immediately after they had sex. During cross-examination, the prosecution argued the alleged victim never consented to sex with McLemore.
You did say on direct, it was one of the most terrible things I've ever done in my life.
Right.
Having sex with an unconscious woman would be one of the most terrible things, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't say unconscious, but that moment was me leaving without saying anything was definitely a terrible one of
the trial.
It just seemed kind of weird. One, man, hey, I'm not helping nobody. I'll tell you that. Hey,
Come on, help me? She's unconscious. She's drunk. Okay, well, shit, get somebody else.
Ambulance. I'm calling 911.
I'm not a medical profession. I'm sorry. Yeah, figure it out. She shouldn't have got that drunk.
And then
I'm not sleeping on the couch with somebody that's already drunk and passed out. I'll be on the floor. Give me a cover.
I'm going to the house. How about that?
Excuse me, get your friend. She's putting her hand down my pants. I don't even know her. She's been drinking. I'm not attracted to you. Sorry.
And what if she get mad at you though? Like, and then she try to say, he tried to touch me anyway.
No, we're in the front of the living room with everybody else. Look it. Where was his teammates at? What, everybody was doing their thing.
Hey, what
I'm
saying? They was
did these cats learn nothing from young Kobe?
Hey man, I don't know about that, man. Why you got to bring up Kobe, man?
Well, I'm just saying. It's like, of course she was,
right.
The other side, yeah.
Well, we don't know what she was. We just seen her head, and
I can see her. I can hear her voice.
she might have just been, like
she could have been,
and just light skin.
She could have been. Well, she could have been, but yeah, I know what that hair looks like. I know where that comes from.
My thing is, bruh, I seen her at the toilet. I ain't busting her now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not attracted to that. But okay, let's keep it all the way 100. If you've been drinking too, and then you sleep, you passed out, and someone got their hands down their pants, it's a party.
Man, hey, I'm gonna just guess what? I'm gonna just lay back and let you handle your business. I ain't doing nothing. Nah, but in all jokes aside, it makes you really like, as a man, that for men that are out there who are single and are doing their thing, like it makes it scary. You got you mentioned Diddy, you mentioned Bill Cosby, but also I think Shannon Sharp, the trial for Shannon Sharp started this week. The stuff that he's about to go through, you know what I mean? The stuff that he's already been through, lost all that money. And you have, and I'm not saying that he didn't do it, but it's, I don't know, from the other side of it, it's like, okay, whose word, do we believe in? Because if she was like sloppy drunk, you know what I'm saying? And like, who do we believe? Like, did she consent? And in that state. And I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. Like, I done had some, drunk nights. You know what I'm saying? I'll just say that much. I ain't say nothing happened, but I have, because I will try to cover me after the fact. But I done had some drunk nights, and things have happened.
As always, things will continue to happen.
And man, like I would be, and like we both were probably in the same state, and it's like if we both connect and agree, in a non-verbal way, then how is it okay for you to come back later and say, no, I didn't consent? Well, what about if I didn't consent? Like how does that work?
Right.
Can I come back and say, you know what? You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna laugh at me.
Exactly.
And they're gonna say, you're not serious. This can't be true. And it's been proven, like, men have to be careful, bro. I'll just say this because this is not okay. For some reason they're trying to take the man down. And it doesn't look good, for us, at all. And I feel bad for him, man. Like having he wasn't like a all-star or a superstar, I should say, but I mean he made it to the NBA, the top, of all basketball players in the world. And now he's looking to serve 8+ years in prison. For an adult, saying he didn't agree. So I don't know, man. It's tough, to say the least. What, like it's crazy how when men, something happens to men, hey, man up. Handle that. Like you a man, like be a man, like figure it out. But then when a woman, comes, like they're all of a sudden a child, they're not an adult anymore. Like we, of course men are here to protect them, but it's ridiculous, like they become less of, who they're supposed to be. Like they're a consenting adult, like, hey. Anyway, let me stop yapping.
No, you got it, man. I mean, I agree. With 99.9% of everything you said, it's unfortunate, man. I mean, I'll just, go back to your point. Men definitely have to be careful, but they have to be responsible. Men have to be responsible and accountable for, the situations that they put themselves in, because of course you don't feel like, okay, we're all having a good time, I'm with my teammates, that somebody's going to say I raped them by the end of the night, but understanding where you're at, who's involved, strangers or people you don't know, will flip on you in a minute. I mean, we've seen it time and time again with cases, girls have said that, guys have raped them, but then they've been lying the whole time, and then that ruins their career, but then the guy doesn't get back his time, or his money he could have made, for that happening to him.
And what happens to her? Nothing.
And nothing happens to her. Society has a way of, empowering women, to a certain extent, but also allowing them to be vulnerable in other situations. And rightfully so, because women are physically, inept to overpower men. That's just biologically understood.
Right.
So when you have situations like you say, like this, okay, I was in a drunken state as well. I was out of it as well. I was, passed out, from partying and drinking, and I woke up to someone with their hands in my pants.
Right.
So I was, thought it was okay. I thought it was consensual because they were touching me first. I didn't touch them first.
Right.
So why is one side believe more than the other in that situation? Were there witnesses? Did they say, yeah, he forced himself on her? I mean, how does he, lose? Is he say, she say? So it just seems like her word was taken because they always play that card,
Right.
especially against men in general, or more likely so men that look like me and you.
Yeah.
So that's a way that women can manipulate and protect themselves from shame, protect themselves from, being irresponsible themselves, so in some way they feel like, okay, I have to make it seem like he did this so I can save face.
And you know what?
Or
Yeah, go ahead.
because it was an NBA player, maybe I can get some money out of this. Because he just left. He didn't say his name. He didn't leave his number. He didn't say thank you. So I'm going to make him pay for this. Yeah, there's women like that too. Vindictive. Revengeful. Vengeful. There you go.
Sure. Oh, that was it?
I'm just letting it build. Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It was cooking. But I mean, at the end of the
Oh, my bad.
He's on fire.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, like you say, hopefully, man, this brother, appeals. I don't know if he can appeal it. Again, I don't know what was done and what was said, but just looking from the outside in and then understanding, how these things go. History repeats itself over and over and over. And, from the looks of it, it doesn't seem like, one of those things to where he raped this girl. That's just me from looking at it. I like to see, like, everybody, what's the were there any witnesses, We in a house full of people, nobody else. I mean, they probably heard it, but it was just kind of like, all right, well, I was unconscious, so that's rape. You were unconscious. I forced myself on you. Okay. But, what if it was the other way around? And that almost never happens, right?
Right.
The guy's unconscious,
Yeah, I ain't gonna. Yeah.
But anyway, man,
I've been a victim before then.
Listen, we've all been a victim.
I done been asleep, you know what I'm saying? I got woke
Right.
up. I ain't necessarily consent at first. Hey, man.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? You bring up some excellent points. But I want to say, man, like he said, he didn't say nothing before, during, or after. Like, this is boring. Like I wouldn't have wanted him to call me, if I was her either. Like you ain't got nothing to say, before, during, or after. I don't know, man. It just seems like a weird situation. Like she didn't say no. But if she touched you first, like I don't know, I don't want to know the details and
Well,
like.
we all know. I mean, when people are intoxicated, we know the energy, we know the offness. Yeah, they're drinking, but we all are. We all have been. It's a party, or it's an orgy. It's a free for all. If you into that thing.
Well, I'm just saying that nothing at all was said. Like if she was aware, even if I've seen, maybe I watched too many movies, because even if like the person was out of it and they didn't want to do it, they'll be like, no, stop. You know what I'm saying? Something faint or something. I don't know. But I've seen this trend of uh victims or people having a victim mentality, and you brought up an excellent point that I kind of wanted to, talk about as well, is that, like why do you think that, these people or some people come back after the fact and because they're embarrassed, they want to, accuse the guy of doing whatever. Why do you think, like, what do you think is the factors involved in that?
It could be many different things. Double standard.
You think it's because she, her friends was like, hey, like, so you had sex with him and he didn't say nothing to you at all? Like he just left and didn't say anything to you? Like that's one of
Well, I mean, I don't even think it was that. I just think it was just her own personal thing. It sounds like she's an emotional person. You get drunk and you throw up in the bathroom and the toilet. I don't know if those are the pictures from the event, but that definitely seems like she's an overly emotional person that takes things very personal and could, like I said earlier, be, vengeful about it. You could have talked to your friends about it and say, I'm feeling this way. Well, maybe you should talk to someone about it. You said he didn't say anything to you. You didn't say anything to him. So maybe you were unconscious. So they could have been feeding their ideals.
And where the hell was her friends at before that though? Why they let her get that drunk?
Where everybody was having a good time bowling.
Man,
You know how it is. We've been bowling before. When I was winning. You remember that?
No, hell no. I don't remember that. Nah, I
I
don't
mean,
remember.
we had a couple of them, but we didn't even have enough to where we was, incapacitated.
I can't hear nothing.
Wow. I got the score on my phone. You want me to send it to you?
You took a picture? Is that crazy or what? You took a photo? Man. Yeah, I get it. You having fun. And I know some people have those friends, right? You got that one friend, that gets sloppy drunk and you gotta carry him out the club to the car. He throw up in the back of his seat of his own car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. However, I don't know. You give him all the blame. I don't know. I don't know. I'm lost for words, man. He gets all the blame, for something that could have been controlled. Like if I'm in a certain place and I don't know I'm with friends, like of course you enjoy yourself, but like to get to a point where it's unsafe for you, like a lot of things that happen outside of just, like something physically happening to you, like from somebody else. So like Ben, like I don't want to have to take care of you because you sloppy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm gonna be a friend. Like, hey, bro, like chill out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to carry you out of the club.
Right.
We done seen, them, sloppy drunk girls walking down the street, falling, legs all up in the air, all kind of crazy stuff, and like that. Like, I don't know, man. Nobody wants to be a friend, a real friend, and say, "Hey, like, let's not get like that," so we could know what happens to us. And I feel bad, feel bad for him. I mean, I feel if he really did it, I don't want to just be on his side, but if he really did it, then I feel bad for her because that shouldn't have happened to her, you know. But putting yourself at a state where something could potentially happen and you're not able to be aware is not a good thing. It's not a good thing to put yourself in a position like that. Like, of course you want to have fun, but it's limits to it too. You don't know these people. Apparently they didn't know anybody. You don't know these people. You don't know what type of stuff goes on. And if your friends were there, like, I get it. You want your friends to look out for you and stuff like that, but your friends want to enjoy themselves too. They don't want to be babysitting you.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say is that, like, be responsible, and be aware, so you could, don't go too crazy. It's cool to get buzzed. I don't, I remember that party we had at the one or two of the parties. I was like done. I had that what was it, Boilermaker or something like that.
Oh yeah, Flaming Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I was. Hey. I was blacked out. Like after, like, when I drunk it, like, I remember, like, maybe 5 minutes after that, and the rest of that, all was a blur. It was like what's that movie? Where they go to Vegas?
Oh, you talking about Hangover?
It was like Hangover. I don't remember shit.
Wow. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you remember this. Tomas said I was in the living room crip walking. I don't remember that. I'm like, what? My ex-girlfriend was over there. I think she said that, I tried to kiss her. I don't remember that. I'm like, damn.
He was a wild boy that night.
Man, I was wilding. Wilding.
Man, that's crazy. But then that comes back to responsibility. See how she had come back and said, yeah, he was trying to, yeah. That's crazy.
It wasn't like that, when we were, having fun. Why? You know what? You didn't hear a lot of instances like that. I mean, it could have been happening, but you didn't hear a lot of instances. And I ain't gonna say what she told me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I had my friend over there in my room, and she said, if your friend wasn't there, you know what I'm saying? Then, hey, I'm just saying.
Oh boy, hey, he could leave. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't remember none of the stuff that happened. She should have told him to leave, but because I was unaware.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, but this kind of leads to the point. I don't know if you was going to say something right there.
I was, but I forgot. It's all good.
Yeah, so this kind of leads to the other point, though. With the Diddy trial, he was, accused. I'm sorry, he was convicted of, like, the Man's Act and things like that. And so now, like, it ain't even safe. Like, I know it's a lot of dudes that be flying women out. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is your take on that? Like, what is that gonna look like now?
Man, it's crazy. I was just thinking about, like you said, when we were coming up, that wasn't even something that we talked about or even thought about. So this new age, dating that's kind of been around probably for, like, maybe the past, I want to say 5 to 7 years, maybe 10 years. It's just been one of those things how we've watched on the internet how it's unfolded, and just hearing different stories in different ways. And then, not too long ago, guys was talking about, hey, would you get flued out by, a WNBA player? And it was like, hell yeah, I would. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So whoever fly you out, you getting flued out. He was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So looking at it now from the standpoint of, what they found him guilty on is basically prostitution, flying people out, for different acts, and I don't know how they got him on that. If you didn't tap my phones and say, yeah, I'm going to pay you this amount if you come out here and do this and do that, I will have to see what the laws are on, paying for someone's flight to come out and, have a good time with you, party, hang out. I didn't know that was prostitution. So now, guys are going to be more, eerie on flying girls out. Say, hey, you're going to have to catch a Greyhound. You're going to have to, take a helicopter or something because I can't do it. You're going to have to get on a road trip to get here some way, because they watching. They giving people time, for flying people out. So you want to come out here, you're going to have to do it on your own dime.
Well, so the Mann Act, it criminalizes when the transportation of a woman or girl for purpose of prostitution or debauchery or any other immoral purpose. Is sex immoral? I don't know.
It could be if you're looking at different religions. Yeah, because I'm not married to you. Yeah, that could be immoral. Or women complain like I was treated a certain way. He didn't feed me. He said he was going to feed me lobster. I got Burger King. That's immoral.
They got the new lobster buns. You know what I'm saying?
Where? Oh, do they?
No, they don't.
Oh, I'm about to say.
Oh man, hey. So you can fly her out, but as long as like nothing is going on,
I'm flying you out to go to church.
Right. We're gonna fly you out and we just gonna go out to eat. We're gonna take you shopping and all that stuff. Nothing else.
He didn't give me the shoes I wanted, so I'm gonna say that he flew me out here for sex.
That could truly happen.
See what I'm talking about? See how women can manipulate the situation?
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point. Just like with the other part of the story,
right?
They could say one thing happened when it actually didn't because of their feelings, and that's the danger, in all of this. So, hey, guess what? I can't even fly you out at all. We'll just have to talk on Yahoo.
Go back to Snapchat that thing. Snapchat that thing if it's cool.
Man. Now, or, if we, you could go visit her. I don't think that'll be a problem. Go visit her.
I could, but then why would I do that? My house is better. You don't have a house.
Hey man, hey, you don't want that 11 by 11 or whatever size it is house.
Yeah, check this out. Like you say, hey, if you don't live out here, I can't work with it. Sorry.
And now I have another question though about that. So what is the distance though? Like transporting, like what? Hey, if I give her an Uber, you know what I'm saying, to come to my house.
Yeah, that could be considered transporting too. Yeah.
Cooked.
Right.
What do? I'm gonna send you an Uber, because I want you to, meet me here for a date. He didn't give me the black.
He didn't send me Uber Black. So yeah, I'm straight to jail. Straight to jail. Like the meme. No Uber Black, straight to jail.
Going to jail now.
Right, exactly.
So that's crazy. It definitely changes the dynamics of things. And if these guys, man, that has been doing this, because you hear about it all the time, like they don't get into some trouble. They may not be athletes, they may not be high profile people in the music industry or art, any type of artist. But hey, some of these dudes, man, got a lot to lose. If like getting locked up is a lot to lose if you've never been locked up before, and you got a job and you got a regular life. And so, hey man, y'all cats, y'all better pay attention and make sure you doing the right thing. Hey man, hey, you know what, baby? I used to fly you out. No, we're gonna have to switch this thing up, because they're not playing. They giving out
we're gonna have to go half.
You're gonna have to pay for that ticket.
No more buddy passes. Sorry. Can't help you.
Hey, fly that Spirit. You
Get on
know,
that spirit.
and I pay you back in food. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Pay you back in food. Yeah, we're going Dutch. We got to go Dutch all the way.
Dang.
We got to make sure we're going half, you know?
What Dr. Dre say? Things just ain't the same for gangsters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hey.
That's true. But I mean, all these things that are happening, it definitely sets precedents. You know, we had the whole RICO trial, you know, so that's been popular. And then now you got this with P. Diddy. You had the R. Kelly trial. You had the Bill Cosby trial. You know, so it's like all these trials, you know, that sets precedents, you know, for us. You know, that takes me back to the thing we were talking about, you know, offline. While this thing was going on, you know, what happened with, you know, the other guys that was actually trafficking.
Yeah. I was looking for that video too.
Yeah, Abercrombie and Finch. Yeah, what happened to those guys?
Well, I know
I saw they only had to pay like a $5 million fine or something. And they was actually transporting, you know, drugging, you know, making these people do crazy things. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why, you know,
giving up that model butt.
Man, it's crazy. That's crazy work, what you just said.
Hey, that's what they doing.
Wow.
They ain't transporting them out there to, you know what I'm saying, model for them, you know.
Get it right. Get it tight, man.
And it's it's been proven, like you said, that drugs was involved and they were flying these dudes out. And guess what? Some people will say like $5 million is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But guess what? Your freedom is worth $5 million.
Oh, freedom is worth definitely $5 million. You want 10? I'll send it.
And guess what? I'm sure he sent it. So outside of that, what else did happen? They had to pay $5 million. Did they say it was on jail time? Let me see if I can find it.
Nope.
So that's
crazy. Yeah. And you paying $5 million, it's like, okay, is that like a civil case? Because usually when you pay money, it's a civil case, right? It's not a criminal case. I've never heard of a criminal case or a person have to pay restitution, but that was the headlines, you know.
Yeah, but not for no $5 million.
Right. So I think that was a settlement. Maybe a settlement out of court. Yeah, but we'd have to do some more research that. But also,
why Diddy and not them? That's the question.
Is Diddy still in jail? Why is he still in jail if he, you know, got acquitted of trafficking?
Maybe he don't have $5 million.
No, he was gonna give them whatever they wanted when he go home. Yeah, he was ready to get up out of there, no doubt. He was gonna give them whatever.
Man, yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little biased, you know.
It seems a little odd.
Man, a little fishy.
Man, red snapperish.
Man, you know what? I'm going to attempt to. We're gonna switch real quick. I know you getting ready to get up out of it. I'm gonna attempt to play this video of this young lady, or old lady. She cheated on her husband. Type.
Yeah.
He took got a DNA test, and their kids ain't his.
Cold world.
5, 10, 12, and freaking 8. How's that even possible, jackass? How's that possible?
How is possible?
How is it possible all 4 kids are not mine?
Wait a minute. Why are you so loud?
Why am I so loud?
Why are you so loud?
Why are you so trifling?
Why are you so
Why are you trifling? Why are you trifling? Hello? No, talk to me. Talk to me.
What is this?
Talk to me.
What's this?
Who the hell is
What is this?
It's not you. You're not the father.
You trying to be funny right now? You look at me in public.
You're
I
not
can't
the
bust
father?
it. Anyway, damn right I'm not. I'm telling you right now, you and your 4 bastard kids gonna get out of my house.
Wait a minute. Don't tell them.
Yeah, those little bastards gotta go. They gotta go. Hear what I
You can say
said?
whatever you want to about me, but don't talk about my
No,
kids.
they have to go.
Don't make
And then
me
you're gonna
put,
let
don't make
everybody
me put my
know.
hands on
You're
you.
gonna let everybody know what you did and what you caused. You understand me?
Get away from me.
Don't tell me to get away from
Get
you.
away from me.
Open up so you can see.
Me and my
Trifling
kids
and
are gonna be okay.
embarrassment.
Get away from me.
I hope I'm gonna let your job know. You know about your mom, but your mom's not living no much longer. You know what I mean? Because you don't have no effing family. Neither does your kids. Because without me, what do you have? Genius. You did this with a stupid ass face. The kids not mine. None of them. 4 kids. 5, 10, 12.
All right. I was trying to find the other video.
It was kind of harsh what he said, but I understand he was emotional.
Right.
Yeah, he had a right to be emotional.
Okay, let me see. I think this is
Sometimes I'll be thinking, man, I'll be looking at these videos, man. It's like, is this real? You know?
Yeah, I was looking at it too. Like,
But it's like, yeah, I guess some women do stuff like that, you know?
yeah, man, it happens for sure.
Like you said, hey, you know.
And it happens sometimes at the craziest times. You know, I've heard of instances where, you know, people found out when the baby needed some emergency surgery or something like that, and they take a test of, you know, the father and the baby, and come out the father doesn't match, and it's like, what's going on? That's one of the worst times for that to happen, because it's already tragic because you're trying to save your baby's life, or trying to make the livelihood of your, you know, or make the quality of life of your child better, and you find out the kid and chores, you know, like, a lot of mixed emotions, you know, come about. And that's another one of those situations where, you know, women kind of get away scot-free. You know, they don't have to deal with any repercussions, you know, for their actions. You know, no, you don't have to like, if you were getting money, you don't have to repay it. You know, you still get support from women saying, "Girl, it's your life. You could do what you want to do." You know, all these different things that go on, you know, and the man, if it was the other video I saw, actually, the man said she said that he was cheating on her, but from what we saw, the video in the other in the previous in the video we just watched, like, she doesn't, and then she doesn't seem like she cares, and it seems like you know, what they do all the time, instead of them, you know, actually taking accountability, they get mad, you know, and try to, you know, blame the man, or deflect, or whatever the case is. So I don't know, man. Like I said, it's wild out here in these streets, man. It's getting challenging, to say the least.
Yeah. I can't imagine what a woman thinks when, well, I can't imagine. I'm creative enough, but I can't imagine what, you know, these great, you know, quality of women think when they have children, or they get pregnant by men, and they don't tell, you know, the person that they end up with, or choose to be with, or consolation prize be with, you know, the truth about, you know, what's going on. And, you know, I can definitely come up with some reason why. You know, number one, just like in the wild, you know, lions, they will kill the children of the previous, you know, pride leader. And not to say that we would do that, because we're not animals, you know, we're human beings. But, you know, 9 times out of 10, you know, men don't care about children that are not theirs personally.
Right.
Now, we will take care of children that are not ours personally, because I'm doing it personally. You know, I have one child outside that, you know, is my stepchild, but I don't treat her like that,
Right.
you know. So I think we have the ability to have compassion in those situations and, you know, do our best that we can, you know, to care for, you know, what we need to care for as we become in as the new protector and the provider in the community, in the tribe, whatever you want to call it. So sometimes, you know, women just think about survival. You know, they know that they've done something, you know, immorally wrong, as we talked about in the previous thing, but they're not going to go to jail for that, you know.
Right.
You know, I've heard of stories and I've seen times to where it gets violent, you know, because men find out about it. So, again, it can be a way that they protect themselves, keep themselves in a way to where they can still be protected and taken care of because they have children. So they have to think about that. So, of course, keeping secrets, you know, it's not new to, you know, our community because it's been going on for generations, you know. So, but I do think, you know, just being in a way not thoughtful in the situation about how the man would feel if he were ever to find out, you know, how could that affect him? No one ever thinks about that because the man is a man. He's hardened. He's a robot, you know. He doesn't have feelings. And if he has feelings, they can be hurt because he'll just, you know, bear the weight of it all and shove it down and do what he needs to do. You know, I've seen women say, "Oh, well, you still need to be, you know, a father if it ain't yours. You still because you've been there." You know, that's just the emotional IQ of how, you know, some women will think. You know, and that right there has to eventually change, I believe. You know, because there are more and more of the younger generation are starting to see the cracks and the flaws in relationships, double standards, you know, the new age way of thinking, you know, coming from, you know, the opposite sex or the dating pool, you know, it's all been sensationalized, it's all been popularized, you know, and embedded, and it's been becoming a part of the culture per se. You know, as we've seen throughout the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and now where we are here. You know, so I just think it's one of those things to where it's going to need to be one of those things that's addressed because, again, men have to be responsible again. They have to be accountable because they are not the ones to be responsible and accountable 9 times out of the 10 because they can use emotions to get by, to keep themselves safe, you know, and make sure that they're taken care of.
So you don't think that is getting worse though? Like I know you said that at some point it's gonna have to change and we have to have a conversation.
Well, I think it's already been at its height and in its boiling point. So I can just
right now, or you think it's? I think it's worse.
No, I think it's at the height right now because I also see, like I say, the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
What we saw there was an older woman,
right?
Had to be in her 40s. Yeah. So the younger generation that I'm talking about are in their teens, 20s, early 30s, having these conversations, and they're figuring out, like, yeah, this ain't it. What we've been given, what we've been sold, this ain't it. This new age, you know, woman and how they think, the dating pool, it's all crap.
So what are those people learning? Like those kids, like the kids that you talk about, if they, for instance, are a child to a parent like this lady that we saw in the video, like what is she teaching them? You know what I mean? Because at some point, you know, these kids are gonna have to. And you know what? Let me stop before I say that. they'll know a side of this story. We don't know if they'll know like the both sides, the true sides of the story, but they'll know some side of the story as to what happened, why their mother and what they always knew as their father are not together anymore. Like that's gonna have to come up at some point. I mean, I'm sure it will. And so what do they learn from from that? And I know you didn't see this part of the video, and I know that's part of the question. That's one question. But what do they learn from that? But I also want to add this. Like I saw the other video, and she pretty much said that, she's in her own place now. She wants to know how it feels to be a single woman or a woman, not attached to any person or not attached to any place where a man is necessary in the household. So just to put those two together, like what do the kids learn from that type of mentality? And I get it. There are some that are learning because I don't know what the dynamics of those kids who you're referring to, like their family dynamic, because that plays a huge part. But what like for people or children in the situation like this young lady or older lady, like what do they stand to learn from, from that type of situation that they're in?
They stand to learn what a broken home looks like. They stand to learn that, their mother did things to the best of her ability, so you can't blame the mother. But you're going to also have to understand as you get older, you're going to have to learn some things on your own because you didn't have a father to help you learn them. So that actually pushes your timeline back into when you become of age. The things that you should have as basic foundations of being a young man and growing into a man, there's certain tools that you should have that you may not have. So they're gonna learn those things, I think.
So, but what about the accountability that the mom, is she gonna take accountability and tell the kids like, hey, like you're the guy that you knew as your dad is not your dad, it's somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Because they've been raised as that. And that's I think that's more what I'm asking, like by knowing that and knowing this man is that she, and it wasn't just her alone because they had some issues together. But what would they stand to learn from this particular situation where father's not there anymore, mom, tells them, or they find out that person they thought was their dad is not their dad. Like, yeah.
Okay, so if I can understand, you're saying what do they stand to learn in the situation that father's no longer there, mother's there? Is she going to tell them? And from that, what are they going to take out of that situation? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. It's going to be one of those things that it has to be continued. We don't know what they're going to learn out of that situation. It depends on their personal development. And again, it could be many different ways and many different levels that happens. They could be emotionally damaged and they end up acting out. They could be, physically manipulative, emotionally manipulative. It just depends. We don't know. 9 times out of 10, this is not the first time this has happened. This is something that's been a practice over time, so that's why this was able to happen. Not to say that this happened to the young lady, growing up, but we do know this is deviant characteristic. This is manipulative. This is subversive. This has nothing to do with building a cohesive household or a community out of love and respect for one another. This is survival in an area that wherever they're from, it could look really ugly. So you kind of bond with someone through trauma and ways of being, and then you kind of try to manipulate that and turn that in some form of love. But through that, it's not going to hold together because there's no truth in the facts, meaning that these children are not yours. So if I'm not being truthful with that, then how can I be truthful in saying that I love you or I want to be with you forever? And then how could the man be truthful if he does not know the truth? If he's not giving the opportunity to be, standing on that because he has all the information that he needs to do everything that he needs to do for that family, which is protect, provide, teach, discipline, all those things. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some villain origin stories with these kids, or there may be superheroes. They may be great athletes because they come from a broken home. They'll come from pain and struggle. So we see what that does for some people.
Right. Or they may be successful in whatever endeavors that they pursue later in life.
Pursue. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that was kind of what I was trying to get to, is that, you mentioned that mom, this may be something that she experienced in life. So she, was a replication of what happened in her past. Maybe that's not the right word, but she replicated, I should say, some of the things or did some of the things that were from her past. Mm-hmm. And so like these cycles, we want to break them, and I know you said it's changing. But in those type of scenarios, it can be damaging, to the children. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, it could be damaging to the kids, and it could hinder their potential growth, in life, because I'm sure your mom or dad said this, but like, I've been there before. I'm saying I walked down the road you trying to walk through, or however they used to word it, and I believe that we go through experiences so we could teach our kids, or shield them from those experiences. And I'm not saying we fully be able to do so, but we could give them some guidance in some areas. Like for instance, your son, like if your son wants to play football, now you could give him some guidance, on, what position to play based on, his stature, his size, what schools to potentially go to, like different techniques and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, but if you're damaged and you're raising kids that are damaged by something that you did, it could hinder, them. So that's, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to take the negative side of it, but I mean, it's true. It's stuff that it could happen. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
That was it, man. I mean, that's definitely a topic, that needs to be touched on more. I think if you have conversation based on certain situations that you see, people are able to, authentically or inauthentically, express themselves and talk about it. And hopefully by watching us, people are able to learn, those techniques on how to do so. It's just being honest, and being creative and expressive on what you see and what you think, and based on your personal experience. I mean, you can be, as authentic as you choose to be. It's just up to the individual. So, again, my last words, I appreciate you as always, Cuzzo, for holding it down behind the scenes. And this is one of the highlights of the week, as I said before. When we come to these shows, it's leading up to it. Of course, people don't see the things behind the scenes, but once we get here, it just kind of flows. It's crazy how the mind works and how the thoughts work. When you're thinking about doing something and you're thinking about doing it, and then when you finally do it, there's like a release. There's a release. So appreciate you, man, coming through so we can have this release every Friday and keep looking. Yeah. But it's all good though, because that's my cousin. So we good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why in my mind, you know, you may have other reasons, other topics. I mean, I enjoy talking about other topics too, but you know, the family dynamic and things like that is one of the things that I thought about when we was like, hey, let's get together and do this. And so I enjoy talking about the family dynamic. You know, I know my family dynamic, you know, is not perfect, you know, but it also taught me some things too. You know, some I didn't learn fast enough because I repeated, you know. But yeah, this is something that I enjoy talking about. And you know, I appreciate your perspective on things. But anyway, that is all. And actually, we talked about this earlier. I'll just say this last thing. We talked about this earlier. You know, this is like the beginning of our journey. You know, and they say to become expert at something, you got to get your 10,000 hours in. This is hour 29, maybe hour 30, 31, because we went a little over. But hey, we headed towards our being experts at this thing, man. We're figuring ourselves out as we continue to go each week, and you know, hopefully, you know, at the end, it's polished. We'll be polished and phenomenal, man. But anyway, not saying we're not phenomenal now, but you know, as we grow, we get better. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Episode 29 of the What's Up Cuzzo podcast. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching our video after the fact. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna have to say that more throughout the show, just so it could be on your mind. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have topics we want to talk about, what's up?
Banner, like a banner or something that just sits at the bottom.
Yeah,
comment might that be having maybe.
Yeah, I work on that. I work on that. Yeah. So like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of you. We are out. Peace.